Yo, 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 it's your boy Joe.
This your boy Greg. We the co-pilots from coast to coast. We do the most. So what's your flight? Whatever it is, we got you covered.
Tonight, man, we're on a late night, 10 o'clock episode of the Co-Pilots Podcast, man. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff tonight. NFL preseason, WWE, a little bit of Jimbo Fisher, man. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in by way of watching YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever you're watching it on. We want to thank you guys for all the love and support, man. So how you going? How you doing today, Greg?
Hey, everything good, man. I here in Mississippi right now. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you, man. And so we ain't gonna waste these guys' time. We gonna get right into it. So let's just talk about Jags. Week preseason week one, and I mean mixed emotions for me as a Jags fan. Uh, I look at how they played. It looked a lot like last year, in my opinion, in a sense. The offensive line, the offense, they stalled, the drive stalled, penalties. You look at the defensive side of the ball. I mean, Mason Rudolph just went up the field, scored on the first drive, looked like it was no resistance. The flip side of it was who did the special teams. You know what I'm saying? Cam Little, he was able to go hit a 70-yard field goal. I think that may be our secret weapon this year. But overall, I just thought that it was a very mid performance for the preseason. But it's still a lot of optimism because it's just only the first game. So, what's your thoughts, Greg?
I would say Cam Little definitely was the bright spot in the game, knowing that we have a field goal kicker that can kick from distance, just in case we're not able to get inside the red zone. Um, I like what I seen out of Tootin. They was talking a lot. They was raving a lot by his speed. During mini camp and training camp. Practice and everything like that. So it showed on the field the level of competition that's in the running back room. Um, I would say that when I examine everything, I mostly look for like starters and the fill-in players and things of that nature. Um, I didn't get to catch the start itself for when I went back and watched the highlights. You get what I'm saying? But I would say another bright spot, man, in the receiving room, man, Trent Irwin. I thought he had a standout game out there. You get what I'm saying? You know, a lot of times he's criticized for his lack of speed, but his ability to be able to run routes, I thought it was sufficient enough. You get what I'm saying? So I think that he would be a nice addition, a nice fill-in piece at times, whether he's in the slot, whatever we put him at. Um, but we know that a lot of these guys is gonna be on the special teams. So that was the thing that I saw, man. Um, we only got one drive out the starting lineup. Um, but I think that most that watched the game, I think we already know that all eyes was on Travis Hunter. And Travis Hunter we saw some good glimpses of whatnot. It's only so much we're gonna be able to see. Um, my biggest knock was the angle that he caught when he tried to make that tackle in the backfield. It was a good read, but he caught a bad angle. You get what I'm saying? And in the regular season, man, making that tackle, that would have been like a tackle for a loss. That would have been a great defensive play right there. So it was a good read, but at the same time, you got to make those tackles. But like we say, this is a rookie in his first game in the preseason. So like I say, man, I still got to see more out this team, man. I still got to see more whatnot. So we'll see what happens when we play against the Saints.
Yeah, I agree with you, man, when they say we have to see more because, right now what I'm seeing with the team, man, it looked a lot like I say for me when I opened up with looking a lot like last year. The penalties with the first unit drive, they getting penalties. Those things. We gotta clean that up on the offensive end. Trevor Lawrence, he looked good in the first drive. He made right decisions with the ball. He didn't look all the way like he was real decisive for some of this stuff. Like you can tell that he's still learning the offense. But I thought overall he did well. But again, like I said, the penalties slowed that drive down. Now, a guy that looked standoutish in this game was Ben Strange. I thought he played a pretty solid preseason game, and he's actually been standing out in training camp. And I think that moving forward, he's going to be a big piece of this offense. Him and Parker Washington as well.
Right.
Those are two guys that I feel like, just watching them, just that throughout the preseason, and then just during training camp, these are going to be guys that they're going to have to be leaning heavy on in this offense. Everybody know that Brian Thomas, Travis Hunter is going to get a lot of that attention playing wide out. But you got guys like Ben Strain and Parker Washington that can do cleanup duty, as wide receiver 3 and as starting tight end, possibly. We don't know. I think that's going to do well. Like you said, Tootin was another guy that, he stood out in the preseason. But on the defensive end, man, I think that's where I feel like I'm really the most concerned with because we had our starters on that first drive, and man, and Mason Rudolph just went downfield and scored. Tyson Campbell looked lost out there. I mean, and so the only caveat I will say is our front four is still banged up. You got Eric Armstead still hasn't played a snap yet. Mason Smith, Tyler Lacey, these guys are they're still banged up. So maybe once the front four get solidified, maybe the defense may look different on the back end.
Gotcha.
So, anything else as far as with your Jazz, man? With the Jazz, man, like you want to talk about, man? Anything concerning or whatnot that you want to talk about in the game?
Um, nah, I'm just wait. I'm just waiting to see it all come together, man. You get what I'm saying? My biggest concern is Trevor Lawrence. Year one in a new offense, and I think that's what really we're most anticipating, like seeing how he strive within this new offense.
Right. Now, I think it's going to be very interesting to see. They got the joint practices next week down in Miami, and as we know, those practices get very intense. Damn near like they scrimmages inside practice. It's going to be like a pretty much two preseason games within one. Cause it's going to have the scrimmage game at the practices, then you're going to actually have the actual game where probably most of the starters may not play. But I don't know, by it being the second game, the starters might play a little bit extended minutes because it's the second preseason. I don't know. But it does have that joint practice, so it's a possibility they may not play in the preseason game. So I want to see how that joint practice look, how they look there. And I think also, too, we can start solidifying certain spots, man. I think by that point, we'll know who's going to be I think we'll know who's going to be starting running back by that point,
Right.
in my opinion. There's a lot of stuff out there. So let's just talk around the NFL right now, man. Preseason, man. Shador Sanders, man, he stole the show week 1 of the preseason, man. He had a solid game, 2 touchdowns, looked good, looked poised, and I gave him a B. I pulled a poll out there last week asking about, you know what I'm saying, you know, what was his grade, and a lot of people had mixed emotions. Had some people gave him a C plus, B, A. Me personally, like I said, I gave him a B, solid B. I thought he did his thing, and I still think there's a lot more expect from him because even though he looked good, but I want to say on that second drive, a lot of the backups on that second drive. So the starters, I think they might have been on that first drive because it was a short field, but for the most part, man, that second drive was a lot of backups. So at the end of the day, I still think he needs some work to be done. So that's why I couldn't give him an A.
All things considered by it, the things I'm taking into consideration is his first game, and also the fact that he didn't get no first team reps. So that is the reason why I'm going to give him an A because to come in short notice and be able to play, to have the type of performance he had with the first team, in spite of not receiving any reps. I think he had a great performance. To be able to be in sync and everything, and also be able to make plays or whatnot. One of the things we know that he was never known as really a mobile quarterback, but he showed some ability to scramble, and be able to get outside the pocket when the pocket collapsed. And also, man, that touchdown he throw, man, he threaded the needle with that. That was a good throw. You get what I'm saying? That he didn't have it wasn't a perfect game, but at the same time, all things considered, I want to give him an 8.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you on that, but I would say this too. Well, I don't know if you realize too. He have been in OTAs, and I feel like we're overhyping. He didn't get the first team reps, so I do think first team reps are very important. But he has been in OTAs, Ricky mini camps, so he know the offense. So I mean, when he came out on that first drive, he looked like he was unsettled. So in the first two drives, he didn't look like that. Then it seemed like he comfortable on himself after the third, fourth drive, and so on drives he looked better. But I just thought that initial first two drives he did not look settled. And when you think about it, when it comes week one of regular season, kind of like that first drive is gonna be like what's gonna be the standard. They're gonna be coming at you. So will he be able to settle in after that? You know what I'm saying? When they ain't got starters coming in, when they ain't got backups, coming in to the game. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a little bit of his performance, it was a lot of backups and things like that. So we can't really fully say, okay, well, he'll do that in a regular season game or whatnot. But I've got to give him kudos because he looked good, man. He looked poised. And I think Cleveland Brown got a quarterback issue for real, for real.
For me, it's simple. You get what I'm saying? Like, of course, granted, they're going to want to see what they're going to get out of Dylan Gabriel, but it's simple. I mean, Kenny Pickett, what are we doing? Deshaun Watson, what are we doing? Dylan Gabriel, I think he'll beat him out. Then now we look at Joe Flacco. We know that Joe Flacco is probably only going to be there one more year if he played the full season. So I'm pretty much looking to invest, this season into seeing what I got in Shador Sanders because it's a chance you may have. You get what I'm saying? They have a lot of draft capital for next year. So if it don't pan out, you have enough draft capital where you can trade in because we know next year's draft class with quarterbacks is probably going to be a little bit more better. You get what I'm saying? With Arch Manning, Cave Klumnick, you got the kids sellers from out of South Carolina. So
Lenore Sellers.
yeah, so I'm looking to see what I'm going to get out of Shador this season. You get what I'm saying? So to me, it's that simple. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, but I think that, when you look at this Cleveland Brown team, when you look at the quarterback situation, you got to look at Kevin Stefanski. He's fighting for his job. Dog.
Hmm.
And I mean, yeah, if Shador give me the best chance to win, yeah, I got to throw him in there. But right now, dog, the person that give me the best chance to win is Joe Flacco. Why? He's the last quarterback that took me to a playoff game. And he know my playbook. He been in my system. He knows what he needs to do in it. So I think we have to look at that in consideration as well. Just saying that, you know what I'm saying? Like, this guy is playing for his job. He's coaching for his job this year. So they got to put the best guy. And I think if Shador give him the best chance to win, then Shador Sanders going to get his time to shine at some point in the season. But right now, if I had to pick, I still got to go with Joe Flacco, man. But they still got a quarterback issue because if Joe Flacco, like you said, if he gets hurt or he can't last the whole season, now you got a situation between Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders. We already seen what the GM said and went out basically like, oh, that went my pick. That's Aaron Bear pick. So that's what I'm just saying, like, if I'm Shador Sanders, all I'm gonna do is continue to prepare like I've been preparing and just be ready with my number card. And when I show up, I ball. And if
Right.
you do that, I think he's gonna be all right.
I would say this. True enough, Joe Flacco giving them the best chance to win. You get what I'm saying? We looking at from a veteran standpoint and what's on paper. But we also got to remember, although he was the last quarterback to take them to the playoff, we also got to remember last season he was bench. You get what I'm saying? He didn't repeat the same performance that he did 2 years ago. So we also got to keep that in mind as well. You get what I'm saying? Now, week one, it's a strong chance that Joe Flacco would likely be my starter. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, I still would want to see what I'm going to get out of Shador Sanders this season, and I think that that's something that management should understand when it comes to with Kevin Stefanski because you brought in this guy. True enough, that they say that wasn't they pick. That ain't the guy they wanted. But you brought him in, and he's showing promise. You do not want to be that team to make the mistake that let this guy go and he ball out with another team. We done seen it over the years. We done seen it with Tampa Bay do it with Steve Young. We done seen it with Atlanta Falcons do it with Brett Favre. So on and so on. So we done seen this happen, play out multiple times where a team will let a quarterback go, and these quarterbacks go on to make the Hall of Fame and also win a Super Bowl for their team. So so at the end of the day, don't be that team that squander away your future. You know,
Now we don't know what's going on at practice too now, because
right?
I know a lot of people is getting on about, hey, Shador Sanders still the number 4 quarterback at the depth chart. Now one of the things that came out of the Cleveland camp was that Shador Sanders was struggling with his pre-snap adjustments and things like that, and that Dylan Gabriel had more of a grasp on the offense versus Shador. Hence why Shador Sanders haven't moved up in the depth chart. So I think, before we start saying that, Shador Sanders is this guy, we got to see what Dylan Gabriel looked like in his offense. Now, if
No,
he
no,
looked like ass, you know what I'm saying, then we got to start, oh, man, maybe they might have made the wrong decision. But
I'm
until
not.
we see Dylan Gabriel in the offense, then I think right now it's just to be I still think that Joe Flacco give him the best chance. And then you made a comment about we need to see what Shador Sanders can do. At what point do you do that though? Because he got to win games, dog. You feel what I'm saying?
Right,
And at what point do you start? Oh, at week 3, week 6, week 12. Like you have to. I mean, when the season is a wash, then you say, you know what? Let's go and throw him out there. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, at the beginning of the season, or at least the start, you got to be trying to win some games. You can't be worrying about potential. I need to win now. So I think that's going to be another question as well at some point. If the season's not going the way it's supposed to go, when you throw your door out there.
but see, this my thing with that, right? Can you honestly say that with Joe Flacco that this team is built to win, go far, anything like that? You get what I'm saying? Now, I will say this: Cleveland do not have a bad supporting cast. You know what I'm saying? But we do have to look at that a lot of their players they have lost, and they still trying to bring fill in pieces. Now, I'm not saying that Shador Sanders is going to be the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? He could be. You have to look at
Right.
him and Dylan Gabriel. You get what I'm saying for this season because you brought them in. You know,
Right.
I'm not me personally. Like I say, man, I just don't see much out of like I say, man. We saw that one season out of Flacco. We have to remember, man, the last few times we saw Joe Flacco, he lost his job to Lamar Jackson. Then he came in, he had a good half a season, with taking Cleveland to the playoffs. Then he can't follow up with another bad season. He followed up with a season where he got benched. So we also got to remember that, so we have to when we look at Joe Flacco, we have to look at although he's the most polished guy on your roster, but at the same time you have to look forward to your future. You get what I'm saying? Like
So basically, what you're saying is Joe Flacco should be on a short leash.
he is on a short leash. That goes without saying. It ain't he should, he is. You know, you're not investing, you're not building a team around Joe Flacco. You know,
He's
you're
not
not
building a team around Joe Flacco either. But again, I got to go back to wins and losses. If you can stay up here and tell me, and there's no trying to hate on Shador and that like that, but if you're telling me that Shador giving them their best chance to win right now, then that's a problem. You
no,
get what I'm saying? Because I mean, I'm not saying Shador can't go in there and light it up, but Shador is still a rookie. He's still learning the game, and I can say just like right now, watching him play, I can't say that type of performance would be the same enough to win you in a regular season game. I just can't sit there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I think that we you have to at least at this point you have to put all your cards in Joe Flacco for at least right now until at least the season is a wash,
but
and
let me
then you say let me throw these rookie quarterbacks out there. Or if Dylan Gabriel is your guy and you draft him before everybody else, then you throw him out there. And if you think he's the guy, but I don't think that you should throw Shador out there like that because then it's going to set a thing that they're trying to set this guy up for failure. And that's already been another narrative that's been pushed to the media that he's been trying to be set up for failure.
if I'm from a player standpoint, I'm playing to win. You get what I'm saying? But if I'm looking at it from a GM standpoint or ownership standpoint, I'm looking at what's gonna be my future. You know what I'm saying? Deshaun Watson is on his way out the door. Again, Joe Flacco, he's on his way out the door. You get what I'm saying? I don't have the confidence in Joe Flacco that a lot of people have. You know, he give them their best chance to win only because he's a veteran. That's the same like we
Mhm.
look at Indianapolis Colts. Of course, Daniel Jones give the Colts a better chance to win than Anthony Richardson. But at the same time, we know that Daniel Jones may only get you so far. You get what I'm saying? He could improve, he could, but at the same time, we know that this team is not building around Daniel Jones. Now he has a better chance than Joe Flacco because he's still young. But I mean, like I say, from a GM standpoint and ownership standpoint, I'm looking to build my team, set my team up for the future. I got two young quarterbacks on my team that could potentially be starters, and I also got draft capital next year. So I think that it would be better that I see what I'm getting into for next year, so I would know how to approach the draft. You know, when it comes because you have two first round draft picks. So
Right.
that's the reason why I would approach this season from that standpoint there and that's from ownership. Now if I'm a player, of course I'm gonna want to win every game. But from an owner standpoint, from a GM standpoint, from management, I'm looking towards my future. And I think and when I say that I'm looking at either Shador Sanders or Dylan Gabriel, you know what I'm saying? Or I'm looking at what I'm gonna do with my first round picks next season.
Okay. Now you was talking about another quarterback in particular, and I'm glad you mentioned that. Anthony Richardson and that whole Daniel Jones thing. I think that situation has gotten real dicey because Anthony Richardson got hurt on the first drive or the second drive, of his preseason game.
Right.
Broke his pinky, and Daniel Jones had to come in. Daniel Jones didn't look bad, you know what I'm saying? But I can't really trust Daniel Jones because again, and it's the same thing with Shador because a lot of backups was playing. And he looked well, and it looked like Daniel Jones could be the starting guy in Indianapolis. But I say all that to say is with the coach, do you think that, and I just think that in my personal opinion, Anthony Richardson, man, he might be out of there. I think it might be, I think it's over with for him, dog. I don't see this guy lasting no more after this season, man, this team, man. I think the coach is going to look at it as a bust. This guy can't stay healthy.
Yeah, if he can't stay on the field, and I pretty much see Daniel Jones beating him out for the starting job. Um, let's be honest, Daniel Jones showed a lot of flashes at times. You get what I'm saying? But it just like he just couldn't thrive over there in New York. But he played well enough to be I guess, you can say that he played well enough to be a quarterback in the
Right,
NFL. Especially he definitely played good enough for a guy that you can give a chance to compete for a starting job.
right,
So I think you also got to consider that. So when you break down everything, man, and Daniel Jones is going to be on the field. He's reliable when you talking about being on the field. So you have to look. Well, I used the wrong word. I'm gonna say he's going to be available. So I think that he pretty much gonna beat Anthony Richardson out the job, like hands down. I mean, of course Anthony Richardson has shown more potential than him, at times. But
mm-hmm.
I'm looking at, you coming into the league, you haven't played a full season, you constantly hurt. Um and let's not forget the time he took himself out the game. He still got
Right.
ashes behind that. Do that versus competing with a guy like Daniel Jones that's a seasoned vet. And with the right landing spot, we could potentially see a different Daniel Jones. You get what I'm saying? Now I'm not going to bet on it, but I will say that he has shown flashes that will make you think that if in the right team, he could be a better quarterback.
Yo, you right about that, man. He's showing flashes. And now he's with a new coach that's more of a, well, he was with an offensive minded coach in Brian Dabo,
Right.
but you get with another offensive guy, and Shane Steichen. Maybe he can flip the switch on Daniel Jones. I mean,
Right.
we seen
And,
what he did with Jalen Hurts, and
and
he
let's
has some similar characteristics of Jalen Hurts. Like you know what I'm saying. So let's just see what he can do.
and let's
Um,
not forget
I'm
the
going.
let's not forget the pieces that he have over there as well. You get what I'm saying? You have a running back already over there. You know what
Right,
I'm saying? Like you talking about probably possibly a top five running back over there. Um
right,
and you also got two receivers. You got Alex Pierce, who I think is one of the most underrated receivers in the league. And you also got Pittman. So I think that he got weapons around him that he can pretty much flourish over there. Let's not forget his best season in New York came with when he had a run game. You know, and so we know that man. The Colts, man, they at times they can rely heavy on the run. So I
yeah,
think
they
that
do.
so I don't think that man. Like I say, man, we've been having the coach number the last couple of seasons. I don't think it's gonna be that easy for us to. Remember, Daniel Jones beat us the last time he played against us. And
Right,
that was a season that we played good. That was all the season we went to the playoffs.
went to the playoffs that year. Yep,
Right.
they went to the playoffs that year too.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, Daniel Jones been doing this. He did his thing week one. I mean, it's sad, unfortunate. Let's stick with the AFC South and another quarterback, Cam Ward. He didn't have the best game, preseason, but I mean, he's starting to build a rapport with Calvin Ridley, and the guy's confident. So I want to see what he do the next game because I'm pretty sure he's gonna want to probably play a little bit, and I want to see how he comes and respond after a bad preseason game. I'm not sure. Did you get a chance to check out Cam Ward a little bit?
Yeah, I checked him out. Like I say, man, a lot of times it take time to settle in. Your first game and everything. We done seen it with a lot of quarterbacks, and
Right,
I think once he calmed down, like I say, man, and I think, man, once time will go forward, man, the game gonna start slowing down for him and everything. You know what I'm saying?
right,
He had good ball placement and everything like that. They just, start not just getting started. Sometimes, man, your first game, you got butterflies and everything. And
right.
we know that when the regular season comes, things gonna go that much faster. So and like I say, man, we know that this team is relying a lot on him. We putting a lot on his back.
Absolutely, they are putting a lot on him. They're riding on this guy, man, to be that guy. And I think Cam Ward's gonna have a solid career. I mean, I just don't want to be good against the Jaguars, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I think he's gonna be all right, man. I like his confidence. I like the way he kind of commands the huddle. You know what I'm saying? He's a leader, natural leader, and guys rally around him. So I can see him, having a solid career. I thought he would have a better showing, but he didn't have that great showing. So let's talk about another quarterback. Did you get to watch Jackson Dart?
Yeah, Jackson Dart looked good. He had a performance up there with Shador Sanders. You know what I'm saying? And like that touchdown pass downfield, man. I'm talking about that was great ball placement. I think and like, man, I watched a lot of these quarterbacks. Like I watched him. I watched Jalen Milrow. I like what I saw out of him.
Right,
Um, Milrow. I think the thing that is going to help Jalen Milrow is this, right? Is that he's able to use his legs, and that's going to buy him a lot of time until he start getting everything down pat with throwing, with his ball placement and things of that nature, with all his mechanics. So I think his athleticism is going to help him out and buy him some time or whatnot. And it's like the same with when we look at Justin Fields, same with Lamar
right,
Jackson, you know. And so he was one of those we saw little flashes out of. You get what I'm saying? But like I say, man, going back to Jackson Dart, man, I think Jackson Dart looked ready. Jackson Dart looked ready, man. A lot of us criticized that pick, man. What some of us did, because we felt like, well, dang, they skipped past Shador, and and it looked like it's going to pan out. And not only that, if you look at you got to think about they got him and also Carter from Penn State.
yeah,
Man, look, man,
Dual Carter.
Yes, man, that dude look like a monster out there.
I know, man.
And
He wrecking havoc.
I'm talking about they can possibly have the offense and defensive rookie of the year on their team, man. New York.
Man, that like I say, that front four, you got Dexter Lawrence and you got a dual call on your front on your line. Two
Right,
man, I'm telling you that Giants front four gonna be nasty, man.
right,
I can only imagine. But the only thing I would say about Jackson Dart too, and this in a positive light, man, he's in a great quarterback room, bro. You look at the quarterback room he's in. He got Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and then you got, you know what I'm saying, two guys that he can really learn from. A guy like Jameis Winston just gonna take his arms around you and gonna just show you the game. Now Russell Wilson, he a veteran quarterback. He probably ain't into mentoring guys like that. We know how starting quarterbacks feel. We've heard the stories about Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, how they just feel like, oh, ain't my job to get the backup ready. But a guy like James Winston, I think he'll embrace that role, getting him ready, man. So I think, with Jackson Dart, he has a great room to develop in, and I think when he do get his time to play, Jackson Dart gonna be ready.
right.
And you talked about Jalen Milroe, man. I agree with everything you said about Jalen Milroe. That's the next guy I had on the list to talk about. You know, Jalen Milroe looked good against in that game. You know, with the Seahawks. And if it works out when he does play, because right now I think what's the name is gonna be what's the quarterback gonna be? He was the Vikings quarterback.
Oh, you talking about damn, I can't think of that's crazy. Sam Darnold.
Darnold. Yeah, he's gonna be their starting quarterback. So, you know, I mean, they gave him a lot of money, but can this be a situation like Russell Wilson? I
Right,
really can think Jalen Milroe can be a Russell Wilson type of quarterback. You know, uses athleticism, his legs, and Jalen Milroe got a nice arm. He can throw the ball, he can sling it. It's just not accurate.
right.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, it could be one of those situations that we could see, at some point, you know, Donald get benched. They bring in a quarterback like a Milroe guy. He take over. I think that's a big possibility because I think Sam Donald had a remarkable year last year. Can he go do it with the Seahawks? Is going to be determined. I don't know, man. I think they could have buyer's remorse on that with Sam Donald, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. I mean, you think about it though, bro. Remember Blake Bortles? We've seen these quarterbacks in the past have that one good season and they go back to earth the next season.
Well,
Um,
I would say this. Sam Darnold looked at way better than Blake Bortles. Like Blake Bortles looked at like when I saw Blake Bortles on the year we went to the playoff. I looked at him like, well, damn, maybe if he had like a talented roster, maybe he could look better. Because if we remember prior to that, his second year, where he was like what third in touchdown passes, I think.
yeah, he had like 30 something passes, some shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30 touchdowns. Yeah.
So but like Sam Darnold, man, he looked at the part, man. Sam Darnold looked at the part last year, but like I say, he had a talented receiving core as well, you know. But I think that man, this season, man, as a whole is very intriguing, man, for this reason right here, man, because two things that we watching for with this season, man, that makes it that much intriguing, right? Um, we looking to see what Travis Hunter can do on both sides of the field. A lot of people want to see that. Like, can he play both sides of the field? And then
Right.
also, people want to see what's going to happen with Shador Sanders and whatnot. Because this is a question that a lot of people going to ask. If he turn out to be a good quarterback or whatnot. Like, what went on with these other GMs when they did their evaluation? You get what I'm saying? Like besides the teams that already had their quarterback and possibly but like even with Tennessee, like if and I thought that Tennessee made a great pick with picking Cam Ward first. I would have picked Cam Ward #1 overall pick, but like even if he wasn't to pan out, that question is going to be asked. With Jackson Dart, and we seen he looked good, but when we look at a lot of these other quarterbacks that we had linked to Shador Sanders prior to him
Kind of
getting
slow.
drafted. to the draft process, um, we gonna look at like is these owners gonna regret not drafting him? You get what I'm saying? If he turn out to be a stud quarterback, and so I think that's one of the things that we're watching for this season. You know, because if so, then it go back to one of the things that we pointed out that man, either a lot of these teams are doing lazy evaluation, or you know he pretty much these teams was in collusion, was in collusion.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing. Is
So that's what's going to be.
That's the
That's what
biggest
people.
thing.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with you, Greg. I mean, when it comes to the collusion part of it, I think if Shador Sanders balls out, it's going to be a clear, oh, they didn't want him to get drafted. Now, do I feel like it's collusion? No, but I do feel like there's a little bit of a lot of these owners didn't like his personality, and I think they can't. Sometimes, it's hard to separate the personality from the talent. You know what I'm saying? Because you feel like the personality might outweigh the talent. But in this pure situation with Shador is the guy had the personality, but he's backing it up on the field, showing you like, yeah, I'm that dude on and off the field. But I think he just rubbed a lot of the GMs, owners the wrong way by how he just handled the whole draft process. And I think that was the biggest reason why he dropped. But in the same breath, if he goes out and ball out, and that's gonna make everybody look like a damn fool. Like we should have drafted this guy. But right
Right,
now he got everybody looking kind of crazy right now. But it's only 1 week. I think we gotta sit and wait the rest of the preseason, how the rest of the preseason go before we crown this guy as like the QB1 for the Cleveland Browns. But I agree with you, Greg. You know the owner's gonna be looking a lot stupid if this guy come and ball out this year.
right.
So, any final thoughts on NFL?
Nah, we probably covered.
So let's talk about the WWE. As you know, the WWE merged with ESPN, and for me, dog, I just want to know how it's gonna be covered now. ESPN, now that they got their hand in the WWE, we know that ESPN usually cover sports, and this type of sport is more of an entertainment type of thing. So it's a sport, but it's not. You get what I'm saying? It's a
Right,
sport, but it's not like it's a predictability to this. Versus when you
right,
watching baseball, football, basketball, you can't really predict this stuff. Now I know some people have been saying the storylines and all this stuff in football and it's scripted. I don't believe that, but with WWE coming on board, I think that makes that conversation a lot louder now. That this stuff is scripted now that you got WWE a part of the ESPN roster now. But
right,
I think it's a good thing for WWE because it gives them more exposure, and they get the credit for being a official sport now that the worldwide leader of sports said partner with.
right. One of the biggest things that's getting to me right now is this, right? And I've been asking questions about it. Because
Mm-hmm.
I don't fully, I just got a vague understanding of it. What's going to happen with the pay per view showings on Peacock? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think I pay what $3.99 for Peacock a month.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? Versus man, back in the day, well, when the pay per views used to be like 49.99, it's a
right,
big difference. So like is so now I'm looking at like when viewing the pay per view is that's going to change things. That may make that price go up a little bit higher. So that's
mm.
really my biggest question. Now, am I going to order if it do? I probably am. You get what I'm saying? Because
I feel
you're
you.
gonna pay for what you want. But I will say it's still a big difference. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much that's what my biggest question was with that. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
But
I think another thing is like the coverage. How it's going to be covered now is they're going to put a guy like Stephen A. Smith on. You know what I'm saying? Are they going to put a Pat McAfee? I think those are a lot of questions as well that's being asked too. Like who's going to be because we know how ESPN, once they acquire something, they acquire it. Like, it's ours. We can do what the hell we want to do with it. Now, I think if I'm ESPN, I leave WWE the way it is and let the people that's running it run it. Just like I'm a big advocate of WWE not touching inside the NBA and leave it the way it currently is, because inside the NBA is going to be on ESPN next year too when the
Right.
basketball season starts. So it's like they're acquiring all these assets, but I think how they cover them is the biggest thing, and I just think that's one of the biggest things that a lot of wrestling fans want to know. Like, don't take Booker T off the line. I'm just using him as an example, and go
Right.
replace him with a Mike Tirico or somebody like that he's
I
fucking
doubt if they do that
not
though.
TBS, but I mean a guy like Swagoo or
Right.
Ryan Clark and put them
Oh
on
yeah.
WWE. You get what I'm saying?
I doubt serious they do that though, because you got to think like like most, like, you know what I'm saying, like they can cover what they cover. You know, we haven't even seen them cover a whole game, so it's a lot that goes in with covering WWE. You get what I'm saying? Like
Right,
you know, because the commentators they got on right now, it's like, nah, we not finna do away with that. Now I will say this now, um. One of the guys that's on ESPN he already commentate for WWE. You know who that is, right? Pat McAfee.
right.
So he will fit in just fine. But the rest of them, like, nah. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they'll do that. I don't even think they're gonna even touch that aspect. I think that it's just like really for like the partnership is probably for like viewing purposes and everything. How the product is viewed, because at the end of the day, man, um the actual entity, they're going to make their own decision on how their product is ran. You know,
I agree with you, Greg. I just hope so, man, because man, like WWE is a brand that's already it's a name on itself. You get what I'm saying? Like, it can stand on its own. Now you getting in bed with ESPN, it just enhances it. You don't want to mess the brand up. I think that's probably one of the biggest things. You know what I'm saying? That I'm looking at, like, the more and more I'm thinking about, like, don't mess up the WWE brand.
right,
Don't let ESPN try to make it you know more suitable for this geographic audience, because you already got the geographic audience that love it now and been making money.
right,
And I think that's one of the things that, as a sports person, that I have to look at, because, you know, you don't want to uh, mess a good thing up. I guess I can say, if you got a good thing
right,
going, don't mess it up. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is, bro.
right.
So, the last topic for the night, let's talk about Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo, he was recently on Frederick Stevenson podcast, Trials and Tribulations, and he talked about a lot of things, and his report said he may come back out of coaching. He talked about the 2013 team and Jameis Winston, how special he was. He actually even talked about Devontae Freeman not getting an offer. Like, he gave him his first offer. Like, he was like a zero-star athlete out of Miami. He talked about not leaving didn't want to leave Florida State, man. And if you get a chance, check that interview out, Trials and Tribulations podcast with Freddie Stevenson. Um, and it made me look at Jimbo a little bit different, because when he left Florida State, I hated that motherfucker. And that's a strong word. I don't say hate, but I disliked him because I didn't like how he did at university. You had built something that was a brand. Florida State was back. Teams was, you know what I'm saying? And then you just up and leave, and now where we at now. But watching that interview made me think about a lot of stuff, like, damn, okay, Jimbo, I can understand why you love things like that. So I don't know if you got a chance to watch the interview, but what are your thoughts on Jimbo, and about him possibly coming back, or whatever else you have about Jimbo? I'm gonna let you take
Um,
off, Greg.
when he left Florida State, I didn't hate Jimbo or whatnot. Um, Now I was critical of certain things, right, that he did while he was there. You know what I'm saying? Like certain, and that had to do with his coaching style or whatnot. I was critical of certain things, but it wasn't much. Um, even when he left, I liked the Jimbo or whatnot. But at the same time, man, I looked at this right here, man. Like at the end of the day, everybody has their reasons for the moves they make. You know, at the end of the day, a person has to do what's best for them in their situation. Did I
Right.
like it? No, I did not want him to leave. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, it is what it is. Um, I think a lot of the fans wanted him out of there. You know, you had a lot of Florida State fans that wanted him out of there. But when he say that he didn't want to leave, I kind of think he full of it right there. You get what I'm saying? I think he full of it. You know,
Well,
when Texas
go
A&M
ahead.
offered him that money, now I think that he would have stayed if Florida State would have upgraded their facilities and things of that nature and paid him more money and things of that nature. But he just got a contract extension. So I think that he was chasing the bag, man. You get what I'm saying? And you know, I can't if that's what he was doing, I can't blame him for it. At the end of the day, you gotta take care of your family. You know what I'm saying? So I cannot be critical of a man with his decision when he's making a decision that's bettering him and his family. You know, but I thought this though. I thought that when they bought him, I said they overpaid for him. And I used to have debates with people about that. You know, I felt like, man, you know, people thought that he was one of the best. I was like, no, he's not one of the best coaches out there. You get what I'm saying? Like, we knew that he wasn't on Nick Saban level. I didn't even have him on
Right.
Dabo Sweeney level. You know what I'm saying? Or Urban Myers or whatnot. But when we look at those like the second and third tier coaches, that's where I had him at. But now, did he deserve the payday that he had? Yes, he did because he got us a national championship. Now you're talking about recruiters. He's among the best recruiters out there. But it showed when he went to Texas A&M, and the recruiting class he had was, you know what I'm saying, some of the best, some of the top in the nation. But at the same time, he failed with the team. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, when we look at everything, man, you get what I'm saying. I would say Texas A&M pretty much overpaid, and we go back to that word you used, buyer's remorse, because they ended up getting rid of him. You know, but
Yeah.
I will say this now: him coming back wanting to coach, a team going to get him. You get what I'm saying? Jimbo Fisher is a good coach, but he's a better recruiter. A school I would hate to see him go to, right? I would hate now. I feel like this team is probably, they may not have the same season that they had last year. And I mentioned them this numerous times that their coach is on the chopping block. Man, if that was to happen this year and they pick him up, oh man, I would hate it. The U, Miami. I would hate to see him go to the U for this reason why. If we remember the recruits that he recruited, when he was with us, a lot of those recruits came from out of South Florida. And if he can convince a lot of those dudes to stay in Miami, oh man, the U may be back. If Jimbo Fisher was to go to Miami and coach, I think the U will be back. A lot of those dudes, a lot of those recruits that he recruited out of South Florida to come to Tallahassee, Texas A&M, a lot of those dudes will stay home. And I would hate it because we have to see them every year. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
I think that he can bring them back if they was to bring him to Miami.
Yeah, I think Cristobal, brought him some time with last year. You know what I'm saying? But this year he went and got Carson back, and so I mean, I don't think he's on the chopping block right now. Now, if they would have crashed out last year and would have had a bad record, then I think he would be on the chopping block. But I don't think Chris Paul on the chopping block. But you're right though. He can recruit his ass off. Jimbo can recruit. He's a recruiter.
Right.
Maybe he's trying to get back into the game. Maybe Mike Norvell is on the hot seat this year. He can't have a bad season. Maybe he throwing it out there to try to possibly be Florida State coach again. I don't know if they'll split a block on him though. But I mean, if we was to fire Mike Norvell this year and Jimbo was out there, rarely available coach, I wouldn't mind him kicking. I wouldn't mind getting him. I mean, shit, we seen what he did with Florida State. I wouldn't mind him spinning the block, but
I think we would bring him back for this reason right here. I think that we're pretty much going to be one of those teams that's going to seem desperate. You hear what I'm saying? And now, unless you have a coach out there like James Franklin, one of those guys, that would be different. But I think we're gonna be one of those teams that's desperate. You get what I'm saying? You know how to, you're willing to take your ex back. The dating scene
we'll
ain't
take
ain't
whatever.
ain't ain't, ain't as prominent as we thought it was. You know what I'm saying? So that would
Right.
be, two. You know what I'm saying? A couple getting back together, both of them to test the waters out there, what they thought it was. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's be honest. It panned out well for us because we had an undefeated season. You know what I'm saying? We got robbed out the playoffs. That's a whole nother story. But it pretty much panned out well for us. But that would be the narrative behind this story. You get what I'm saying? If we was to part ways with Mike Norvell.
Go. I agree. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but Jimbo, yeah, man, he been in the news lately, and let's just see what happens with him this college football season. I think he might be doing some analysts too this year as well too. I think he might be on one of those college football shows this year as well.
Right.
So we're gonna wrap up the show and we're gonna end with our arrivals and departures, man. I do have a rival this week, man, that I want to really, really shout out, man. Um, and my arrival this week is the Atlanta Stingrays 6U team. They 2 weeks ago, I want to say they went up to either I think it's Atlanta or either Alabama, one of those areas. They went and played in the national game and won the game against the Twin City. Forget the name of the team, but they won. And they got to meet Cam Newton and you know what I'm saying, take pictures and stuff like that. And I thought it was real dope for that team to do it. And I had shouted them out before in a video a few months back about them being one of the top 6U teams in Jacksonville, but they actually showed they one of the top 6U teams in the country, going over there, taking care of business, and doing their thing. So salute the 6U Atlanta Stingrays, man. Y'all continue to do y'all thing, and good luck on a successful season. I'm gonna try to be out there in 2 weeks. I think they play against the Alpha Dogs up here in Orlando. So I'm gonna try to check them out. First game of the season.
Um, for me, man,
So
my rival is on football season, man. Football season is here, right? It's probably what, like less than a few days, like 10 days away for college, and pro right behind it. So we have preseason, and week zero finna start up. So football season. That's my rival.
all right, my departure this week is an old departure, but I'm going just gonna put it out there, man. I gotta give the Gilly the Kid, man. I'm gonna give him my departure this week, man. Gilly the Kid, he been in the news lately. You know, him and Cam Newton were trading bars back, and I have to give it to him because you're not gonna win against an athlete, bro. When it comes to like sports and things like that, talking sports, bro, in certain aspects, you're not gonna win. And Cam destroyed you, bro. He basically told you can't beat him in nothing, and then he proved it. You said you can beat Jeff Teague in basketball, then he went out there and just destroyed you in the same spot. He hit like 8 threes on you, then just showed you, okay, bro, stop trying to challenge athletes, bro. Just shut it down, Gilly, and just stick to what you do, bro. Like, get out of that sports lane and, trying to, talk and all that stuff like that because it's like making yourself look goofy in a sense, man. Doing that with a guy that done won a MVP. You got another guy, Johnny Manziel, won a Heisman, was a first round draft pick, bro. Like, you going at it with these guys, man. It just don't make your brand look good. That's all I'm saying. So if I got to give it a departure this week, I'm going to give it to Gilly the Kid, man.
I would say contrary, man, because at the same time people are still entertaining what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? So we know that Gilly the Kid is a dude that, man, he's comical. You get what I'm saying? Like, he got a he got a comical personality. He gonna get up there, crack jokes. You get what I'm saying? I
Right.
think the thing that look back when Cam Newton brought up his, when he measured his sports career against his music career. You get what I'm saying? But
Right.
like I say, man, but with that, man, people still gonna view in to see what he gotta say about the situation because it's a back and forth. I think it's gonna be something that down the line it's gonna get squashed. It's nothing too serious, you know what I'm saying? Two people going back and forth, two people with a platform. You know how that get. But as of
Yeah.
right now, Cam pretty much got the upper hand. You know,
Yeah, he do. He got up, man. He destroyed him on this last get back. It's just like, Cam told him basically like, bro, you a mascot. And he proved it. You around here dancing and you doing this and you doing that. Like, bro, you a mascot. It's like, I
Gilly
love
say
my
that one there.
Jaguars, right? But the way Gilly was going so hard and how he was, dog, he just seemed like he was low key dick riding, dog, like hard, dog. Like I know we like our teams, but bro, dog, you act like you was out there playing, bro. Straight up. That's how he made it to me. That came off as like, dog, you act like you was running the football, dog. You was just out watching, bro. Come on, chill, knock it off, bro. That's why I think I gave him my departure overall because I just thought that he just went a little bit too hard. And then it was just like, when Cam came back at him, he just destroyed him, bro. Like, bro, like, you talking and like, bro, your rap career wasn't even nowhere near my NFL career. If we just comparing careers, then if you saying about you calling out rappers and you calling out NBA players, saying you can beat them in basketball, you can beat Jamal Crawford, you can beat this person, then you get your ass whooped.
Yeah.
Come on,
I,
man.
I will say this now to Gilly defense, the best rapper alive did steal his style.
Who?
Lil Wayne.
I don't believe that shit, bro.
Listen, listen,
I don't feel like I really don't
listen,
think that, bro. I think
listen,
I'm a big Wayne fan, bro. I can't do that, bro. I ain't gonna even
listen,
get on it,
listen,
dog. Gilly a
listen to
goofy, dog.
listen to Gilly the Kid's flow and listen to Wayne flow. Listen to Wayne prior to Gilly the Kid and after. Is parallel. Now wordplay, Wayne wordplay is by none one of the greatest we ever heard. When you're talking about wordplay,
Got you.
that's his style. But when you talking about flows like his actual style, yeah, that's Gilly. Yeah, that's Gilly. I
I'm
listen
not. I,
to it. I say yeah, that's it. When I listen to some of this old, and I don't even listen to Gilly. You get what I'm saying? I remember hearing him back in the day. Didn't know that was him until recently. But yeah, that's his style though.
I'll say this though, man. The reason why I go so hard on Gilly, dog, because Gilly say a lot of shit, and then he contradicts himself a lot. Like he said something about, oh yeah, and this was about maybe about 2 years ago. He talked about how, oh yeah, when Wayne seen me, like how he was just this G ass nigga around Wayne. Then Mac Main showed the fucking footage of them interacting. You ain't do none of the shit he talked about. I'm like, bro, dog, that's goofy. That's goofy behavior, bro. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and cap online and say, oh, how I did this, the nigga did this. Then when you show the footage, it's like, you ain't say nothing, Gilly. Like, dog, you making yourself look goofy, dog. Real goofy, dog. For real, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, you say you giving $1 million worth of game, bro. You giving $1 million worth of bullshit, bro. I ain't seen not doing one nigga take none of the advice you gave him. Young Thug, he went and got locked up. Dirt, he got locked up. Every nigga you gave game to done went behind them bars, dog. And I'm not just saying that to just throw shade. I'm just, me being a content creator and I'm in these spaces and I watch, I'm just giving my honest opinion about shit.
That's on them niggas if they got locked up. You can't say the game was messed up because he told them some real stuff. Them niggas chose to get locked up.
You know what I'm
They just
saying?
say take heed to it.
I just don't know what I'm saying. I don't know, man. I mean, me personally, I look at Gil a little bit different from a lot of people, dog. I look at some of the shit that he do, and I don't know why we talking about it, but I'm about to get off on it because this is sports. This is a sports show. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna end this. Go watch that Joey Badass interview. $1 million worth of game. If that's not the crab in a barrel mentality that black people have, bro, I don't know what it is. And that's what turned me off about getting that interview right there. That was a crab in a barrel mentality, and that's why blacks can't get ahead because you got blacks like him that want to keep motherfuckers down.
Yeah. Well, I would say my departure this week, man. It got to be the all the modest interviews I've been seeing out these quarterbacks this week. Um, Jackson Dart and Shador Sanders. You know, they ask them about their performances. They say, "Well, I give it a C." You know what I'm saying? Like, man, listen, man. I understand you want to be humble, but it's sometimes, man, it's like you can look at it and be like, bro, you being too much. We know you just doing this because the camera's on. When you go back into that locker room, you'll be like, boy, I did my thing today. You get what I'm saying? So it's like we can peep the BS from a mile away. You know what I'm saying? So I pretty much got to call out Shador Sanders and Jackson Dart, man. Come on, man, with these modest responses, man. Y'all came in, y'all did y'all thing this week. So
And they had two of the highest PFF gave them grades,
right.
and they had the highest grades of the rookie quarterbacks,
So
Jackson Dart and Shador Sanders. I
so
think Shador Sanders had the highest grade, at like
right.
80
So to
something.
come in
He had
and
the
be
highest
like,
one.
man, you talking about you know what I'm saying? You could come on, man. You did your thing out there this week, man. You get what I'm saying? Like, we
Right.
know the camera's on, but I understand it though. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right about that, man. So that concludes Co-Pilot Pod episode, I think 101. We got 101 episodes in now. I think it's 101, the 101st episode.
Yeah.
So, I mean, man, we still growing, dog. Want to appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight, late stream. This episode will be up on Spotify and all your streaming platforms later this week, man. So, Greg, any final thoughts, Greg?
Nah, they done went. Got doggone camera done went out. No, hey man, just appreciate everybody for rocking out with us, man.